Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we've got Hela and her doggo, and I like the way Jean moves. That second deck is my favorite in quite a while. I'm in love. I keep playing it. Like a million people told me to play it. They were completely right. It's the best Jean deck I've ever played in Marvel Snap. We've also got one of my two favorite Hela decks ever, along with Safety's the version that everyone has now played that runs magic and runs like excuse me, the name of the card, Modoc behind Invisible Woman into Hela. That was my first favorite Hela deck. This is my next favorite Hela deck. So we've got really cool decks for you today. Also, make sure you stay tuned at the end of the video. We're going to look at my shop, we're going to look at what I bought and why, and we're going to look at what I didn't uh buy from the shop and why. So hopefully that new feature is something you're interested in. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you like it, I don't see a real reason I can't do this on a day-to-day basis, or at least here and there on a day-to-day basis. If you're interested, let me know. All right. Before we go any further, I'd like to invite you to hit that sub button. What we bring you on the channel is two brand new decks every single weekday that help you reach infinite. These are proven decks that reach infinite, get infinity borders, get infinity tickets, help you reach all your goals in Marvel Snap. Our job is to bring you the best decks before the meta adjusts them, before everyone knows their snap patterns, so that you can get cubes and win with them before anyone knows what hit them. Hopefully you find value in that. Hopefully you hit the sub button. We also do the biggest giveaway in all of Marvel Snap. That'll be kicking off in about 2 weeks. We give away at least 15 season passes, but you gotta be subbed. So don't miss out. Also, we've got a special surprise for you on the podcast for this week. 1 year anniversary of Snap, and we have our biggest guest ever. And reminder, Lambie was last week, so biggest guest ever. It's big. Tech credits. We believe in tech credits. People put a lot of work into these decks, and they deserve credit. The first deck, we are using Hannah's Cat Cafe. We also used Hannah's Stats with this deck because she has absolutely rocked with it. I believe this build already came from Educated Collins, but I could be wrong, so do not hold me to that. We are going to go with this as Hannah's deck for the time being because she's whose stats we're using. If anyone can correct me in the comments, please feel free. Like 70% sure this is Collins, but it's an old video and I couldn't actually find it. We have another deck from Thursday 4, and I'm going to take you through the history of this quickly. So Thursday 4 makes this deck, hits infinite with it. Uh, Obi, Toby on because Obi's coming up later. Toby starts tweeting about it like crazy. Streams under Toby One Kenobi, gets 2 infinity tickets with it like that with like no problem. M per minute, one of our homies from the Discord, immediately is like, "Oh, I'll try that." Gets infinite with it, and then I was hanging out with Obi Haved on Obi's Twitch on Friday night, and we just like chatted, and I was like, "Hey, try this deck out," and he immediately went 7-1. This deck is legit. I've been playing with it. I've been winning with it. You should try it too. I bet you can also. Super straight up play lines. Super exciting deck. We also are going to take a new look at my daily shop. I'm trying to figure out how I want to end these videos. I want to end these videos not just like deck done. So hopefully this daily shop look is interesting to. Right. The first deck is a nice simple Hela discard. This is one of those doesn't try and super high roll with Hela, but it can. So if you can blade off one of the power cards early, we're talking a Magneto, an Infinite, or a Death. That's really great. If you can Lady Sif either with Hela not in hand or with Death in hand, again, that's really good. Silver Samurai hitting fundamentally anything, but ideally White Tiger or Jubilee. Also great hits. Black Cat discards herself, and you can throw cards into Lockjaw. You can throw that White Tiger, that Blade, that Sif, and that Jubilee and that Samurai into White Tiger. And if they bring back Hela, that's just automatically, like, even if all that's really discarded is Black Cat at that point, like a 15 power play. If Black Cat and White Tiger, now it's 16 plus 8, so that's a 24 power play. Like, there's all these crazy power plays. Then you can end the game just by playing like a Magneto or Chavez because you have so much damn power on the board. What do you have to lose? That's the basic gist of this deck. It is so very strong. Samurai is the only Series 5 card here. Look, all the cards here. Nice Series 3 deck, except for Silver Samurai. You can kind of cut him. Like, it doesn't fall apart without him, I guess, but he's what takes it over the top. If you're gonna cut him, I tend to like Vision. You can make an argument for a Colleen. I don't like it, but you can make an argument for a Colleen. There's a lot of Colleen versions that run Swarm, but Mobius kills that, so this is like the modern version. Hannah played this in Lambie's big tournament, and the reason we're doing this today is because I plan to count. If I can find the stats, cover Lambie's big tournament tomorrow morning for the video. Look at all the top decks from that. So today's video is, instead of going over that Lambie deck, it's going over why am I umming like a maniac? Excuse me. It's instead going to be doing what would have been tomorrow's decks, but we'll be talking about Lambie at that point. So that's where we are for now. All right. Uh, sorry, Hannah hit top 16 with this deck. Didn't make top 8. That's why we're covering it today. But it was like 6-2 in like a 300 player amazing tournament. So here we go. Playlines. That's where we are. This is the best Hela deck in ages. Since basically the other deck got chased out of the meta, this is how you want to play Hela. You blade when you can to get rid of something big, or you save it for lockjaw. Turn 1 and turn 2 only plays. Turn 3, I will often Sif over lockjaw if I don't have Hela in hand. But if I do have Death in hand and I have both, lockjaw comes out first, and then you can throw that Sif into lockjaw, being guaranteed getting rid of Death. Because then even if you hit Hela, hitting Hela is gonna be 18 power, right? Like that's pretty damn solid. Um, turn 4 is fundamentally your last try for lockjaw. You can also just play Jubilee as like a pseudo lockjaw, especially if Hela's in hand or if Black Hat is gone. If you've discarded nothing, don't Jubilee here. That's my basic advice. If you don't have any of those, you can Samurai, and Samurai is perfectly fine, literally as long as it doesn't hit Hela. You would greatly prefer to Samurai to hit White Tiger, but obviously that's not always the case. Turn 5 White Tiger, or whatever like combo from the earlier plays you can pull off. I would generally not Lockjaw here, but it's not the worst play in the world. You can Lockjaw here if you've hit like all your other discards and you've got a bunch of big stuff gone, because you know you're going to draw America last, right? So you can throw whatever you got into Lockjaw for one last shot at Hela. Two last shots if you didn't end up playing Jubilee. Turn 6 is Hela. If Hela came out of a dog earlier, then you drop Magneto or America. It's the deck. That's how you play it. It's really, really simple. If you see any of your damn combos snap, your opponent, if they're smart at all, should run. But because everyone goes, oh, it's Hela, they're just going to put power in the wrong place. People stay in, and you get massive cube gains with this type of deck. The win rate for this at so high is really, really worrying if this remains consistent, because like Hela decks cube rates are always through the roof because they can retreat for one or stay in and win a lot more because people don't retreat appropriately against Hela decks. All right, quick variant talk before we get any further. We've got 1 hip, 2 hip only in this deck. Excuse me, 3 hips. All right, I guess that's an acceptable number. Blade, Lockjaw, and Lady Sif all in a row in the bottom are our hips. This isn't like this blade hip doesn't feel as bladey to me as I would like, but I bought it because I didn't like the other blade I had, and blade hip is awesome. This Lockjaw is everything. It's in the thumbnail. I love it so much. And Lady Sif hip is kind of great too. We've got this Jubilee. My friend Rosie literally just cosplayed as this exact Jubilee at Comic Con, so that's awesome. I'm sure she's not watching. She doesn't play Snap, but very cool. This is the only Silver Samurai variant I have, and the only Silver Samurai variant I think that I need until the hip comes out. We've got this cool Noir Black Cat. Noir art is some of my favorite in the game. We'll see more of that later this video. White Tiger, I need a variant for. I'm down to like 23-ish cards I need variants for. White Tiger is one. I have 2 decent Hellas. I have this one that I think is kind of cute, and have the gardening one. I actually usually run the gardening one, but I decided to run the baby Hela with the baby America in this because they were cute together, I guess. Again, I don't usually use the America, I usually use the McKelvey America, but here we are. I've got the Magneto that came in the season pass the other month, and like a pixel Magneto, but the modern white Magneto I think is my favorite. I've got this Infinite and another. All the Infinites look kind of exactly the same, but Infinite's a cool card. And I got the Death from the Midnight Suns. I had a Death I liked already, and I very rarely buy a second variant, especially an expensive variant. But I think this is like the perfect Death. Like I can't imagine them printing a better Death than this. This is on freaking believably good art. So that's how we ended up here. All right, excuse me, wrong one. Next up, this is the deck I've been telling you about. This deck is sick. If it sees Angela, Jean, Elsa, it's so hard to beat. And even if not, it's just a really good deck. Basically, you force your opponent to play in one lane while you're getting like extra power constantly in that lane. And then if they still have to play in that lane at the end, you can ally off them off and just win the game. And if they can like try and play elsewhere, you can doom for 8 extra power in that lane because remember Elsa. So excuse me, 10 extra power in that lane because Doom plus Angela, and then you're just putting Doom bots all over the place. And like because they had to put so much with that Angela in, it's usually enough to win. It's sick, especially if you got like an 11 power Vision floating around, hard to beat. An 8 power Sylph floating around, hard to beat. There's so much power to this deck. So again, um, Thursday 4 hits infinite with it. Toby gets multiple infinite tickets with it. Then Emperor Minute hits infinite with it, and then O goes 7-1 with it. I did not keep track of my stats, but this is my favorite thing to play right now, and I feel like I can't lose half the time. I sent it right before I recorded to Prashant, who immediately destroyed someone with this deck. It's so good. I really hope if you have these cards, you can try it. And I know this is an expensive deck. This is like the most expensive deck I've shared in quite a while. I'm trying to keep the like expense of these decks down, but this one has 4 Series 5 cards in it and Elsa. So like if you happen to have them, that's awesome. If you don't, I totally understand. There's another deck that only has 1 Series 5 card, but this one's really cool if you can play it. Um, I think you can replace Jeff or Silk, but not both. And if you're going to replace them, the answer is Craven. I don't know what else you do to replace anything here. You can probably put Mobius in, but that's just another Series 4 card. So I don't know. Here we are. I'm really sorry about that. Again, I'm trying to keep the expense of these decks down so that more of you can use them where possible. But sometimes there's a sweet deck that's expensive. Welcome to Snap. Okay, turn by turn. Lock them into a lane and ruin their life. Turn 1, I will drop Nightcrawler reasonably often. Sometimes I save it, but unless I have like a massive amount of my combo, like if I have Angela in hand already, sometimes I'll save it. If I have Elsa in hand already, sometimes I'll save it. If not, usually I just drop it. I don't mind dropping stuff on top of Nightcrawler because he can just move out of the way later, and it's not a problem. It helps me get my Elsa off a little bit sooner. Um, so you go Nightcrawler, and then you in a different lane usually go Angela and then Jean on Angela. So you've got 5 power in that lane. Spidey on Angela is your backup plan, just because it works out pretty well. It messes up their plans reasonably well. Turn 4, you're going Elsa and Jeff on top of that Angela and Jean. So now you've got a 6 power Jeff, and you've gotten Angela up to 6 already. If you need to drop Luke, this is a decent time to drop Luke too. Um, or if you dropped Elsa earlier and you didn't see Angela, this is a reason not to drop Luke. These cards just get big. You can also throw Silk there, but if you're only do that if you're losing priority, because then Silk will have an 8 and float out of that lane, and then you can put something else there next turn. You basically want that extra spot for yourself on turn 5. So you want to move Jeff or Brawler, or Silk has already moved, and drop Vision for 11 power. If you think they have Shadow King, here you will drop Spidey and Luke. Um, Remember that Spidey ends up the same power as your basic Vision anyway, like your Elsa Vision. If you have Elsa, so that's fine, and then Luke is still 2 power, that's gonna protect your whole board. And then turn 6 you move Vision, or Spidey has moved himself, etc. And then you either Doom or Alioth based on what the board tells you to do. It's super straightforward. Basically, the second you have your combo and you know what they're playing, you can snap. It can be weak to Loki because Loki just goes, all right, I'll just go over the top of you reasonably often and can go wider, but basically everything else struggles with this. Like even other move decks really don't enjoy playing this. Jean is a very strong card right now. And again, I strongly urge you to give this deck a try. All right, let's take a quick look at some variants. We've got 1 hip Nightcrawler, 2 hips Elsa, 3 hip Jeff, and 4 hip Alioth. Not terrible, not ideal, but this is, as we love to see, a full variant deck. I have Anime Angela that I've been using forever, but I don't know why. For whatever reason, I really like this baby Angela. I've started putting it into decks. This is my favorite Luke Cage. It feels very Luke Cage to me. I've got this and Venomized Silk, both of which are pretty good, but I like this one a little bit better. Jean, I had no variant for, and this Jean animated looks gorgeous. I got it from the Midnight Suns bundle. Spider Man is a season pass Spider Man. I'm not a huge fan of Vision. This Vision, but it's decent Vision, and it's not the art. I actually think the art and the flowiness of the cape are great. I just don't love all white Vision, although it does go with the Emperor Doom, which is the best Doom. And this is the McKelvey America I told you I liked so much a few moments ago. We are now onto my daily shop. Daily shop this today was Jessica Jones, which is a hip, and as longtime viewers know, I absolutely love Dan Hip art. However, I also really love noir art, and I have Jessica Jones Noir. So I decided to pass up on the emo teenager Jessica Jones. The next card I considered buying is I really like the Luca Claretti hood, but again, I have the Noir hood, so that ended up being more important to me. I was very close to grabbing this Maximus. If I still ever played Maximus, I might have. I've got Kid Maximus. I think Kid Maximus is fine. The Maximus that's here, I think, is significantly better than Kid Maximus, but I don't play him enough for it to be worth the extra gold, and it's not like I don't have a variant. And I want that man thing. The Venomized man thing is really great, but I don't think it's 1200 gold great. And if a hip is coming at some point, the hip is not out, but if a hip is coming right now, you can see this hip. You know I want that hip. Finally, I bought this Warpath because there's not a Warpath variant I love. I like the Lucha one a little better than this, but not much better. But given that there's not a Warpath I love, I didn't have a Warpath variant. It puts me down into the low 20s of variants I still need to own. I didn't. I'm obviously not spending gold on a pixel, so like leave me alone. I also have like three more Morbiuses, and and I have a different hazmat that's decent. I don't like this hazmat here because this hazmat feels kind of like it's a giant based on the perspective, and that's not like what hazmat's supposed to be. So I don't know. I like Julia Rincon. Yeah, let's go with that. I like that art, but I don't love that variant. So here we are. That is today's variant talk. What did you get from your shop? Did you grab any of these? I know we see a lot of the same cards. Most of you probably saw at least the same new cards: the hip, the hazmat, the man thing, the hood, the 2 pixels. What'd you buy? What'd you get? Did you get nothing? Are you considering anything? Is there something you would have bought if variants weren't so damn expensive in this game? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, hit that sub button, help us out. Remember that we got a huge surprise for you coming this week on the podcast. Thanks for watching. Check out tomorrow for coverage of Labby's tournament, assuming I can find it. Peace.